Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the new Player of the Week pack on eFootball. There's also a new Italian League selection. I'll be reviewing that one in another video, so keep your eyes out for that review. For this one, as always, I'll put timestamps in the description, so if there's a particular player you want to hear about, click on the description, there'll be a link to take you straight to them. So we've got 11 players in here from the internationals that have been going on. We'll start with the lowest rated. We've got a 4-star, and it is Aydin from Fenerbahce. So, had a couple of versions of this guy. He has a face scan. He is a whole player this time, so he's normally a prolific winger and a left wing forward, but they've added right midfield and made him a whole player this time. There was a recent Player of the Month version of Aydin that was also a whole player. That one had a left midfield as well. It was a little bit more two-footed than this one. His weak foot accuracy was +1. And on the whole, very similar card. So if you got that Player of the Month version of Aydin, I would say stick with that one. You don't need this one. There's really not a lot of difference really in the attributes, but you've got one that can play an extra position. It's a little bit more two-footed. So yeah, not a lot of difference really. Certainly don't consider this one to be an upgrade really on the whole compared to that one. There was one in the Turkish League pack as well a while back. I'm not sure exactly when that was, but it wasn't quite as good and it's got less skills than this one. So yeah, it's a decent looking version of Aydin, but like I say, if you got that Player of the Month one, it's not an upgrade in my opinion, this one. Compared to his GP card, nice boost on his end product, the passing and finishing. They've taken a point off his dribbling compared to the auto allocation on his GP card, but you're still going to hit 90 with the maximum game plan boost. What else they've done? Right corner's been boosted apart from speed. Pretty much everything down there seems to have been boosted by a bit at least. Obviously his defending's been boosted, as you'd expect on an attacking player. And then skill-wise, what they've done skill-wise, they've given us soul control, one-touch pass and through passing a new pinpoint crossing, outside curler, super sub, and fighting spirit. So a whole load of skills have been added. Excellent. We've got some good skills there. We've got some shooting, some passing, some crossing, soul control, outside curler, nice ones to have. Super sub, fighting spirit's a good one to have. Yeah, he's got some good skills in this guy. So he's got some end product there. It's not amazing end product, but it's okay. You know, his passing's okay, his finishing's okay. Even with pinpoint crossing, I'd say 75 lofted pass. He's not going to have a great cross on him. It could be worse. He's a right footer. So yeah, you're going to use him on the right and put some crosses in. I'm not sure how amazing it'd be. He's decent on the ball. We've got decent pace. But like I say, even with pinpoint crossing, he's not going to have an amazing cross on him. He might still be best in his normal position as a left wing forward. He won't have an active playing style there. Some people don't like that, but plenty of people are okay with it. I'm okay with it. If you played him there as a left wing forward, bit of pace, decent on the ball. His passing is okay for a wide forward. The finishing at 78. He's got long range curler. Could be pretty decent there. He'll have a decent finish on him cutting his side onto his right foot from left wing. So that might be the best way to use this guy possibly. His balance isn't amazing, but he's got a bit of strength about him. And then centre forward. Awareness and finishing too low for me. I wouldn't use him as a centre forward, but yeah, I mean, if you don't mind the awareness and finishing being low, obviously you could use him as a centre forward. I wouldn't recommend it at all. But yeah, like I say, he could be a neat right winger, sort of right midfield. But that whole player playing style being active there will make some good attacking runs. He does have a bit of end product, the shooting, passing, crossing skills. None of his end product's going to be amazing, but it will be okay as long as you're not asked too much of him. But like I say, wide left certainly I think you could get decent value out of him. So it's not an amazing card, this one. Obviously it's a 4-star. I think for a 4-star it's decent. I said pretty much the same when I was reviewing the Player of the Month one a couple of months back now. For a 4-star I figured that was pretty decent value, but this is one where you might get it from your free spin, in which case if you still get the Turkish League challenge it could be a handy one. But in terms of spending coins and getting this guy, obviously it's a 4-star card. It's not a great one, but I do think you could do worse. Like I say, I think it comes down to that Turkish League challenge. If you're still allowed to do that Turkish League challenge, I think it would be a very handy card to have. But if you don't, unless you're very new to the game, you're desperate for options in kind of wide areas, might not be a terrible card. I certainly don't think it's a bad card at all, to be fair. I think it's decent, but I don't think it's one that many people are going to be wanting to get for coins, certainly. But from your free spin, he could be alright. He certainly could be a worse card. He's got a bit of end product. He's got a little bit of everything. Could just be a reasonable option for you if you need options in his positions. Next up, we have Moise Kean, however you say it. It seems like every time I watch a Fiorentina match, they pronounce his surname differently. Got a face scan, of course. He's a goal poacher, centre forward, as he normally is. So, I had a few previous versions of him at this point. I've had a couple of Player of the Week ones. One from when he was at Juve, that wasn't on the same level as this one. That wasn't a great card. It's not stood the test of time, but there's a Fiorentina one with a booster around about the same boosted. So it looks like it's pretty much the the best, or at least as good as there's been player of the week wise for Kane. Kean. How do I say it? I'll say Kane. In terms of trainable versions of him, there's an old one from a Juve pack ages ago. That's not quite as good. Again, it's not stood the test of time, that one. More recent one from when he was at Juve in some kind of legend box, and also one from I think it was a national players pack, a European national players pack. Both of those go one higher in terms of the overall rating, and they are trainable as well. So I would say those two trainables, if you got one of them, are preferable over this one. Although they do have inconsistent form, that's one thing to consider. It's not a massive concern for me, but for some it is. From his GP card, what they changed, we've lost a few points off dexterity. So it is an annoying one. You've got a centre forward, he gets into player of the week playing as a striker. You lose a few points of attacking awareness, balance, acceleration. Probably, arguably, the most important area to put skills apart from finishing on a striker, but obviously he's worse than his GP card is on a player of the week card. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it? They've nerfed his set piece taking. I'm not sure anyone's going to care about that. But where they boosted him, he's got a bit more kicking power, physical contact, a bit more stamina. Of course, he's better at defending than he normally is because he's a striker. Excellent. But most importantly, they have boosted him quite significantly on the ball. He is a lot better on the ball than he normally is. So there's the big boost. That's the real plus, the real plus with this card. Obviously, the dexterity nerf is utterly stupid, but he's better on the ball, so that is good. And then skill-wise, they've taken away scissors feint, chop turn, I think. No-look pass, according to eFootball Hub. Have you ever seen this guy do a no-look pass? I haven't. So yeah, it looks like he's lost that, but we've gained double touch. Apparently he did some kind of double touch. Didn't see that. Long-range curler, that is a very good addition. One-touch pass, that's helpful. And fighting spirit, that continues to be flavour of the month with player of the week attacking cards. So another one with fighting spirit. But yeah, we've got some good additions there. Long-range curler is a very good one. He's already got first-time shot, acrobatic finishing, long-range shooting as well. Got heading up there. He's not got aerial superiority. What is he? 5'11", just about 6 foot. I thought he was taller than that. He's not got a great leap on him. His heading's not brilliant. Got some physical strength, so he might be okay from crosses. Not brilliant, but he's got a bit of pace. And he's certainly pretty good on the ball. But for me, it's the awareness and the finishing. You've got a 5-star goal puncher and player of the week, 82 awareness, 84 finishing. I mean, maybe you can get away with 84 finishing if you're careful. The awareness does suck though. The balance isn't great at 72. They have nerfed that a bit, like I say. So yeah, in terms of the rating, it's a good version of Kane. Kane. His name's annoying me at this point. Yeah, it's a fairly good version of him in terms of the overall rating, but I think the big thing is the on the ball boost they give him, because if you take that out of the equation, it's not a great version of him. Yes, it's good to be on it's good to be comfortable on the ball as a striker, but as a goal poacher, you want to get him in behind the defence and just put the ball away. Yes, he's got the pace there, he's physically strong, but not great balance. Awareness being so low is really frustrating. His passing isn't great either, even though they've added one-touch pass, and the finishing could be high. So all things considered, yes, it's a good version of him in terms of the overall ability, but where they've nerfed him a little bit and where certain attributes could do with being a bit higher, even though he's got really good selection skills, and they've added long-range curler, which is a really good addition as much as anything. Certain attributes not being higher just kind of spoils the card a bit for me. So he could certainly do a job for you. He's got qualities, but yeah, for me, the awareness especially, and just the way that they've held some of the attributes back a bit, just holds it back from being a good enough card that I would want to keep it if I got it, to be honest. And this is our first ever featured version of Konstantelias. I hope I've said that right. So this guy is normally a left winger and he's normally a roaming flank. They've made him an attacking midfielder hole player. He does not have a face scan yet. I imagine we'll get one at some point. He doesn't have a club, so he's not going to get any live update. That's a bit of a negative already. Albeit, of course, he can get form from international weeks. Strong weaker foot. That's not been boosted. So the only thing to compare this guy to is his GP card. And on his GP card, if you were to allocate it, we've basically lost a few points off dribbling. Lost a few points of acceleration, but pretty much everywhere else we've had a pretty reasonable boost, to be honest. So it's a fairly nice boost on the whole. Obviously, on an attacking midfielder, to take a few points off dribbling is very annoying on any player losing acceleration, but he's still got great acceleration, to be fair. It's going over 90 with the game plan boost. And yeah, overall, it's a fairly nice boost, to be honest. Obviously, we're into the 5-star players now, but this isn't an amazing one for me. It depends where you play him, to be fair. I mean, you could play him wide left still. Let's just have a look at his skills first, actually. Let's see what they've done. So they've taken away sombrero, scotch move, acrobatic finishing. That's a bit of a disappointment. heel trick has gone as well. It looks like I've taken a heel trick. So taking away acrobatic finishing and a heel trick. Again, the space where they normally had 5 skills and trainable cards, just put the new skills there. Stop taking skills away. So yeah, it's a shame we've lost acrobatic finishing and heel trick, but they've given us first time shot, one touch pass, track back, and of course fighting spirit. He's already a super sub, so long range curve is a good one there. He's already got that, and first time shot. You've got one touch pass and through passing as well. So yeah, I think this is one of these cards where it's not amazing. I think as an attack midfielder, certainly as a centre midfielder, the passing for me is too low. Low pass 82, even with one touch pass and through passing, his passing is not quite brilliant. You could get away with that. It's a matter of opinion. If you think, all right, 82 is okay, if you can work with that, he's going to be decent on the ball. He's got decent attack awareness. His finishing will be decent as well. Decent pace. It's kind of decent everywhere really as an attacking mid, apart from the passing. Wide left. Again, you know, the pace, you can get away with that out wide. It's not amazing. It's not electric pace, but you can get away with it for sure. And likewise on the ball, not amazing. But he could do a job for you. But do you want a card that's kind of decent and could do a job for you? Who's never going to, well, not never, obviously, but rarely going to get A or B form? I'm not sure. He's got a pretty good selection of skills for either of his positions, through the middle or wide left. But looking at all the attributes, like I say, centre mid, there's no way he's strong enough defensively or physically to be in the middle of the park. Attack midfield with the whole player playing style, getting it forward a bit more. Yes, if you can work around the passing, not being great, but that is a bit of a drawback. And then wide left, like I say, he's got a decent ability in a bunch of areas. I would say he's probably best as a left winger, which is what he normally is. But even there, he's not a brilliant one, and he just, you know, the fact he's rarely going to get any A or B form, it's just a shame. It kind of spoils it really. So again, it's not a bad card at all. He's got some quality. He could probably play through the middle for a lot of people. Certainly, I think wide left he could be an option, and as a super sub as well. Skill wise, you know, super sub and all the rest of his skills there, he's pretty well equipped, but he's just not a brilliant card. And if he's not going to be getting the form very often either, then yeah, it's kind of not a card I think many people would be too excited to get, unfortunately. But it's certainly not a bad one. He could do a job for you. Certainly if you're new to the game, it could be a very handy option. Next up, we have Ryerson from Norway. So again, he doesn't have any club affiliation because he plays for Dortmund. So outside of international weeks, you're not going to be getting any AB form. So that's a real negative with this card already. He does have a face scan though. He's normally a defensive fullback. They've changed him to an attacking fullback, this card. He's got unwavering form. They've increased his weak foot accuracy by 1, but he rarely uses it. So it's really not a great deal of benefit to that if he's rarely going to use his weaker foot. He can play left back, but he's right-footed, so like I said with the weaker foot thing, unless that weaker foot usage is high and the accuracy is high as well, or he's got outside curler, which he doesn't, I'm not sure how comfortable he'd be at left back. So I'd be looking at this guy personally as very much a right back. So yeah, we've got some pluses and some minuses. The live update situation is a big negative, but he's got unwavering form, which does compensate to a great extent for that. And yeah, he's been made an attacking fullback instead of a defensive fullback. Obviously, that's personal preference. That might be good for you, might be bad for me. That's good. If you prefer a defensive fullback, obviously that's not good. But yeah, we've had, what have we had in terms of previous versions? We've had one of those ones with a kind of dark green football background. That'll be some kind of legend box over the past few months. Slightly better than this one, to be honest. Obviously, his stats were shuffled around a little bit, and that trainable version is a defensive fullback. And it doesn't have as many skills as this one. They have put a bunch of skills on this one. It doesn't have the passing and crossing of this one. It has the rest pretty much. What else have they done skill wise? So long range. He's normally got long range shooting. That's gone. Acrobatic clearance is gone. That's a bit of a shame. They've added first time shot. Not particularly helpful. One touch pass. Okay, that's good. Through passing as well, and pinpoint crossing. Yeah, so the passing and crossing and first time shot, that's been added. Defensively, so we've got man marking, interception blocker, sliding, fighting spirit, great. So defensively pretty strong skill wise. We've got the passing and crossing as well, so that goes perfectly with the fact he's an attacking fullback now. From his GP card, what they've done, we've taken a bunch of points off speed, taken about 9 points off stamina. Kind of crazy on the face of it, but you've still got 90 stamina, so I think you can allow that as long as they're going to put the points elsewhere. And they have boosted him elsewhere. His physical strength and jumping have gone up a bit. His defending has been boosted on the whole. Pretty much the whole of the left column's been boosted as well. So yeah, it is a decent boost. He's still not great in the ball though. To be honest, looking at it on the whole, the one negative really with this guy outside of the live update situation is he's not great on the ball. You're going to have to be careful on the ball with this guy because he's not too comfortable in possession of the ball. But outside of that, low and lofty pass are fine, especially with the skills he's got. Defending all 80 plus before the game plan boost. Pace is fairly good. everything else down the right is pretty much on the mark, to be honest. This is a very solid right back, to be honest. You're just going to have to be pretty careful on the ball. Don't start doing too much, trying to dribble all the way down the pitch, because he's not too comfortable on the ball. But if you don't mind that, pretty much everything is looking pretty solid here, and he's got a very good selection of skills from an attacking fullback, to be honest. So if you do like an attacking fullback, it could be a very handy one. If you like a defensive fullback, again, I always say it with an attacking fullback, you can of course put a defensive instruction on him if you've got enough. If you've got a free slot, obviously we only get 2 that you can use for defensive. But if you did want to do that, I think he's got just about everything you need to be a pretty solid defensive fullback. Maybe not an amazing one, certainly not on the level of the kind of top defensive fullbacks, but I think defensively is fine. Everything down the right is fine. On a defensive fullback, it's not as important to be good on the ball. He's still got the passing there though, and the skill-wise, man marking, interception blocker, sliding tackle, you've got really good selection skills for any kind of fullback, really. So yeah, as an attacking fullback, dodgy on the ball, but apart from that, really quite solid. And as a defensive fullback, if you put a defensive instruction on him to hold him back, I think he could do a very decent job for you there as well. It's just the live up that's going to hold him back as well, really. But on the ball and live up, they're the only 2 negatives with this guy, really. Apart from that, on the whole, I think it's a very solid attacking fullback card. And next we have our first booster. We have Oyarzabal from Sociedad. So deep line forward, that's what he normally is these days. He used to be a left midfielder. I think his playing style is creative playmaker, but he's a centre forward, deep line forward these days. He has a face scan, and we'll activate that boost straight away. So what's that booster? What's that called? Offense creator, whatever the hell that means. So attacking awareness, ball control, low pass, kicking power. So that's how you create offense with those attributes being boosted. Cool. He's got unwavering form. Got a bunch of positions he can be used in, this guy. So yeah, to compare him to previous versions, the thing with his with comparing to previous versions is that he's had his whole profile changed in terms of his positions and playing styles. He used to be a left midfield creative playmaker, like I say. He is now a deep line forward, centre forward. So the previous versions of him mostly have been left midfield. There was a player of the week version of him that was a whole player quite a while back, I think, at Sociedad. That version of him had a bit better dribbling and a tiny bit more pace than this one, but apart from that, it's an inferior card, unless you really prefer a whole player version of him. But on the whole, this version of him is better than the previous player of the week card. But if you look at the previous trainable versions of him, mostly left midfielders, and really if you train them up in any position, they're pretty similar to this one. Really, it's not a massive difference. Obviously they're trainable, so you can make them a bit better in certain ways, but it will be worse in other ways. On the whole, similar level really, most of those trainables. The only trainable I see that's got the deep line forward playing style that's a centre forward like this one is it was the freebie when I think it was when Spain won the Euros. Not quite as good as this one, but it is trainable. So if you've got that one, you might consider it's worth just keeping that one. But this one is a little bit better on the whole. Compared to his GP card, they put a bit of a boost on his speed, on his kicking power, a bit more attacking awareness, a bit better on the ball. His passing's had a very nice boost. That's probably the biggest boost. Nothing's changed on his finishing. Nerfed his set pieces a little bit. Of course, on an attacking player, he's had his physicals and his defensives boosted. Excellent. We've lost 1 point off balance. Why? What have they done skill-wise? We've lost Marseille turn. I think we've lost acrobatic finishing again, and captaincy. We've gained heading. I guess he scored a header. I didn't see that. First time shot, good. And track back. So yeah, I think the big one here is first time shot. Yes, he's a deep line forward, and deep line forward will be dropping deep into the build up, but he's still a striker. First time shot is still a very important one to have. He's got one touch pass and through passing as well. Heel trick's a nice one. Has he got outside curler? That's a shame. He's never used his weakened foot. So it's a shame he's not got outside curler. But yeah, we've got some good skills there. It's going to come down to where you want to use this guy. As a centre forward, the attack and certainly when he's an A form, it's great. It's going to go 90 plus. When he's not an A form, he'll get to 88 with the maximum game plan boost, which is still decent. Not amazing though. But I think on a deep line forward, that's okay. On the ball, that's what you want from a deep line forward. He wants to be comfortable on the ball. He wants to be able to pass. And he can do all of that. So I think for that playing style, the build they've given him, I think it works pretty well. So it's one of these cards where if you like the playing style, it is going to be potentially a pretty nice card for you. He's not got long range shooting. I would like that on a deep line forward. He's not got long range curler either, so he's not got all the skills that you'd want. But certainly dropping into the build up and being able to kind of get involved in the build up, picking a pass, He looks very capable. He's not the quickest. He's not the strongest either. I would like his dribbling to be a bit better, to be honest. So yeah, it's not an amazing card to me. It's not one that excites me too much, but yeah, as a centre forward or as an SS with that deep line forward playing style in either of those positions, I think he could be a pretty handy one if that playing style works for you. If you like this kind of a player, you like that playing style. In terms of using out wide, left or right, not the quickest. On the left, his crossing is not going to be amazing, even though he's got pinpoint crossing, only 80 lofted pass. He's not got the pace to really get away from his man, so I'm not sure how great he'd be as a left winger. As a right winger, again, he's not got, long range curler is the first one he'd want on a left foot playing on the right. He's not got long range curler. Yes, his finishing is very decent. He could certainly do a job coming off the right wing, but without a bit more pace and a bit more dribbling, I'm not sure how keen many people would be to have him in that position. And then attacking midfield, the other position he's got, even an A4, 8-4 low pass, yeah, you can get away with that. Again, it just depends on where the kind of threshold is for you. Where you want that low pass to be. Yeah, he does have one-touch pass and through passing. If that's enough for you, he could be a very neat attacking midfielder. Obviously, he's not much of a dribbler, especially without having a bit more pace about him. But yeah, if you can work around the low pass being where it is, he's got fantastic attacking awareness in that position. He won't have an active playing style, attacking mid or wide left or right. But yeah, he's got plenty of quality, so you could use him as an attacking mid if you're okay with his low pass attribute. So yeah, he's versatile. He's one that I think a fair few people could find pretty handy in certain positions. I think primarily as a kind of as very much a deep line forward, whether you play him SS or centre forward, dropping deep from that centre forward position and being involved in the build-up. I think the balance of his attributes and the skills he's got, it all marries together fairly nicely to me. I think it's a pretty nice looking deep line forward. So if that playing style works for you, it could be a quite nice card to have. Outside of that, you could find use for him in one or two other positions. I'm not sure he's brilliant in any of the other positions he's got, though. So for some people, it could be a handy card. But if you don't like the deep line forward playing style, which I personally don't, then it's not one that overly excites me. But if it does work for you, it could be a pretty good card. And we go straight to our next booster, and it's Trincão. He came off the bench for Portugal, and he scored to help them beat Denmark. That was a good game. I had 2 matches on that night. I was flicking between them. Got a face scan, and his booster gives him ball control, finishing, kicking power, physical contact. I'm going to guess that's shooting. It is shooting. So yeah, we've had a previous player of the week version of Trincão, sporting card from the Portuguese league, of course. This one is better. The advantages this one has of that one, you've got a whole bunch. The finishing's better, kicking power, physical contact, balance, stamina. But that old one, even though it's not as good in the whole, his weaker foot's a bit stronger, and he does have slightly better passing than this one. So it's not this isn't better in every way compared to the previous one. It's mainly just the passing, really, I guess. But yeah, on the whole, it is better. So if you've got the previous one, this would be an upgrade for you. We've had trainable card, I think fairly recently. I'm not sure what pack that was in. It's got the background, it's kind of purplish background. That when they did that Ballon d'Or pack, the highlight cards, it's one of those backgrounds. I'm not sure it's that pack necessarily though. But that one, if you got it, goes to a similar level to this one. But it's obviously trainable, which gives it a bit of an edge. And there was an old nominated contract version of Trincão from ages ago. It wasn't quite so great. So this is a pretty good version of Trincão. Compared to his GP card, they have nerfed him a bit on the ball. But he's still certainly on A form. Even without A form, he's going 90 plus on all those 3 on the ball attributes when he gets maximum game plan boost, which is great. And that's pretty much it for nerfing. So looking like a pretty decent boost on the whole. Finishing's boosted a bit, heading's boosted a bit. I didn't think he scored a header. Maybe he must have won a couple of headers I didn't notice. I was flicking between a couple of matches. What else he got? A bit of a boost to his pace, that's good. Kicking power, balance and stamina. And of course, his defending is better than normal. They boosted his defending, excellent. So yeah, pretty nice boost on the whole. So like I say, nerfed a bit on the ball, but we can afford that because he's going to be 90 plus on all his attributes, even without A form when you get your maximum game plan boost. So decent attacking awareness, finishing certainly very decent, even without A form. The passing's not brilliant, you have to be careful with that, but does he have one touch and through? Yes, he's got one touch and through. So what have they changed skill-wise? They've basically added long range shooting, super sub, and fighting spirit. I don't think they've taken anything away. Yeah, it looks like they've just added those skills. So long range shooting, long range curler, first time shot with his finishing in the 80s before the game plan boost. He's going to have a very decent shot on him. One touch and through, like I say, his passing attributes aren't great, so he's still not going to have brilliant passing, but those skills will help. Of course, super sub goes without saying. He's going to be given that skill and fighting spirit. So got a pretty decent selection of skills there, shooting and passing. got a few positions you can play him. Personally, I wouldn't put him SS. I don't think his passing is good enough to play in the middle. I don't think his crossing is going to be good enough to play on the left, even as a left footer. He doesn't have pinball crossing either. So yeah, I think this guy is very much going to be a right winger. Reasonable pace. He's not the quickest. I'd like a bit more pace on a wide man. I think most people would, but he's very nice on the ball. He's certainly got the finishing and the awareness as well. Not got great balance, to be fair. Decent kicking power on his shots. Yeah, on the whole, it's not an amazing card. There's one or two areas where he'd like to be a bit better. I think certainly pace is probably the first place he'd look, and maybe it's a bit more balanced. But he's got a pretty good selection of skills on him. And this is a guy who I think quite a few people quite like him in the game. You hear people talk about him sometimes. I think he's one of these cards where, he's quite popular. And he's going to feel nice on the ball, and he's going to be pretty handy as a left footer playing wide right. So yeah, one or two attributes I'd like to be a bit higher, but good selection of skills there. He's got super sub as well, always handy. There's no Portuguese league challenger, unfortunately, but yeah, that is a bit of a letdown, to be fair. So that probably puts some people off this guy, but I think a fair few people, even outside the Portuguese challenge, might quite like this guy. He's got some qualities. He's a pretty handy one playing on that right wing. Certainly is a super sub. So yeah, fairly handy. One or two attributes I'd like to be a bit higher, but it's still a pretty decent card, this. And next we have Thiago Almada from Argentina. So, got a face scan. Unwavering form. They have added a left midfield for this guy. He's got the same playing style he's normally got. He's normally just an attack midfielder, creative playmaker. He's now a left midfielder, creative playmaker. Obviously, you can still play him attack midfield if you want to. We've had one previous version of this guy. It was in some kind of legend box. Bit better than this one, to be honest, and trainable. So if you got that one, you've got a better one. You won't need this one. And you can position train on for left midfield if you really wanted to. From his GP card, they've obviously shuffled the stats around a bit because he's been moved from attacking mid to left mid. But what I find interesting is if you train his GP card as a left midfielder, if you just go to auto allocation as a left midfielder, the only real advantage this card has is the awareness and finishing. Outside of that, on his defending and physical strength, of course, because he's an attacking player in Player of the Week. But yeah, the only real standout advantages to this card over his GP card, if you train it as a left midfielder, are the awareness and finishing, which are significantly better on this card. Apart from that, not a lot of difference, and there are a few attributes that are actually slightly higher on his GP card. So it's not the most exciting boost they've really given him from his GP card. Yes, awareness and finishing are important, and obviously they boosted him after he scored that goal, but yeah, not the most exciting boost from his GP card, but it is a boost on the whole, of course. And he's looking fairly tidy. He's got decent pace, bit of kicking power, fairly good balance on the ball, pretty tidy. Shame he's not got at least one more on ball control to hit the 90 mark with the maximum game plan boost, but he's pretty tidy on the ball. He's got a pretty low center of gravity. I've had one, two people talk about this guy. I've had his GP card, who said he's pretty nice, and he sounds like he's one of these players who's going to feel pretty nice on the ball. And it looks like it with the low center of gravity, like I say, on the ball, balance, bit of pace about him. He looks like he's going to be very nippy, very nimble. He's got a bit of end product. What have we got skill-wise? So firstly, what they removed, Marseille turn. They always remove Marseille turn. Looks like we've lost penalty specialist. I think we can live without that. Gamesmanship. We've gained long range shooting, pinpoint crossing, and of course fighting spirit. Always getting out and attacking players in Player of the Week. So long range curl around, long range shooting as a right foot. If you do play him on the left, very good. Even through the middle, of course, those are helpful ones. One touch pass, no through passing. That's a shame. Got weighted pass, but yeah, through passing is a big miss. Outside curl is handy. Soul control is nice. Yeah, through passing is the one we're really missing there. So if you were going to use this guy as an attacking midfielder, as I mentioned, there's a previous version. If you've got that highlight card, you could put through passing on it, and then you could have a potentially very nice attack midfielder. You can't train these cards in any way, so you can't give him through passing, and his low pass is only 80. So for me, as an attack midfielder, yes, he's going to feel nice on the ball, but the passing is so important. A low pass at 80 is not high enough. Even if you had the through passing skill, I would say it's a bit on the low side. So yeah, I'm not sure I'd see him as an attacker mid, but in the position they've given him as left midfield, bit of pace, going to feel pretty nifty on the ball. End product wise, yes, he's still lacking through passing, but it's not so important as a wide man. He's not a whole player. He's a creative playmaker. I don't know what what's a whole player. He's a creative playmaker. Yeah, that's personal preference out wide. Obviously, every playing style is always a personal matter of personal preference. For me personally, I always say it, but I don't like creative playmaker on a wide man because I just don't think they make enough attacking runs. They tend to hold back a bit. They want to get on the ball and kind of orchestrate. I don't want that in a wide man. I want my wide man to be making runs into attacking areas. So for me personally, that playing style puts me off a bit. But if you like that playing style in a wide midfielder, he could be a very nice one. I would say though, if he's going to be a creative playmaker, give him through passing. Surely, is that not an important skill to have? If he was actually a creative playmaker in that match for Argentina, that's slightly annoying. But with long range curl, long range shooting, the finishing's over 80 before your game plan boost. Tidy on the ball, and he's certainly, like I say, going to be capable of scoring goals for you from that left midfield position when he does get into those attacking areas. So there are definitely qualities with this guy. I think the biggest quality is that he's going to feel very nice on the ball. And in terms of his shooting, certainly he's got a bit of end product about him as well. So coming off that left flank could be a handy one. If the playing style works for you, could be a very handy one. Attack midfield for me, like I say, going to feel very nice on the ball. If that's enough for you, could be a very fun one to have. He can certainly pop some shots off, but in terms of the passing, not having through passing, low pass being a bit low, I think that kind of spoils me as an attacking midfielder. And we don't get a French League challenge, of course. So there are a few real negatives with this guy, but it's only the second time I've had any kind of special version of him. And like I say, there are certainly qualities. The passing is the big concern for me, but plenty of qualities. He could well be one of these cards if he was very nice on the ball. So I think a lot of people, if they get this guy, will be very pleased and could very well enjoy him. But the passing for me and the playing style as a left midfielder kind of spoiled him a little bit. So in terms of both those positions, for me, not an exciting one. Hopefully there'll be a better version of him in the future in those ways. But if you're not too bothered about the playing style, certainly as a left midfielder, it could be a very fun one. I imagine a fair few people will be pleased to get this card. And here's our goalie, and it's a good one. We got Maignan from France. Got a face count, of course. Attacking goalie, nothing's really changed in terms of his profile. We had quite a few votes of Maignan up to this point. We had a few Player of the Week cards. They always shuffle the points around a bit from one Player of the Week card to the next, but they're all around the same level, which is just slightly lower than this one. This one's overall rating is one higher, so it's the best Player of the Week version we've had of Maignan. We've had a Showtime version of Maignan, which is obviously the best version we've had of him, but outside of that, in terms of trainables, this one's up there with the highest rated trainables. But again, when you compare it to a trainable card, Player of the Week, they nerf the jumping in order to bump up the core goalkeeping attributes. So if you've got a trainable that's got the same overall rating on auto allocation, you're going to find that, generally speaking, that the core goalkeeping attributes will be higher on the Player of the Week card. And that is the case. So for me, looking at the previous versions, Showtime version obviously the best, but apart from that, this is better than the rest. So this is one of the very best versions of Maignan. It's a very good looking goalie card. The biggest boost they've put on his attributes is on his reach, which is great. So that's going over 90 now. 6'3", reach going over 90, awareness and reflexes both going over 90 with the maximum game plan boost. Catching will go to 88 and the powering will be 85. This is a very solid goalkeeper card. He's not got low punt. That's probably the one thing about him that's a little bit disappointing, I guess. He's got the rest of the goalie skills. And like I say, yeah, he's a decent size. He's got good reach, awareness and reflexes. Catching and powering are kind of middle of the road. So yeah, it's not an amazing card. It's not quite on the level of the very best ones. You know, we had a couple of very good ones last week, Courtois and Donnarumma. I got the Donnarumma one. The stats aren't overly different on those, but the fact that they're massive is what gives them a bit of an edge. But this is still a very good goalie card. You've got unwavering form as well. And I think, yeah, all things considered, like I say, it's one of the very best versions of Maignan. It's only the Showtime one that I can see that's any better than this one. And this is a very good goalie card. You do get the Italian League Challenge, could be a fantastic option for that. And yeah, it's a great version of Maignan. Very good goalkeeper card, this. And now we have right back Kimmich, not for the first time. So normally an orchestrated DMF. He's now an attacking fullback right back for this card. He's got a booster. Let's activate the booster straight away. What we're getting? Speed. Excellent. We needed that as a fullback. Stamina. Lofted pass. Curl. What's that? Crossing. Okay. He needs speed to cross apparently. So, and stamina. Interesting. But yeah. Attacking fullback right back Kimmich is not the first time, like I say, we've had a right back Kimmich. So seems like every season we get at least one right back card of his in Player of the Week. If you look at the previous ones, there have been 3 previous right back versions of him in Player of the Week. Before the booster is activated, about the same overall really. Overall ability, obviously stats get shuffled around a bit, but overall pretty similar. But the booster does give this one a bit of an edge, mainly with the speed. That is crucial. If you look at the most recent right back version in Player of the Week, that was a fullback finisher version, so the playing style does make it different. But apart from that, very similar to this one, really very similar overall. But like I say, compared to all three of the previous Player of the Week ones, the booster does just about give this one the edge, and it's mainly the speed because that's very important on a fullback. One thing I would say though about the previous ones, the two older right back versions from Player of the Week are better as a midfielder. They're kind of technical on the ball attributes are better, make them better suited to being a midfielder, but it just depends where you're going to use them. As a right back, certainly this one looks like the best. If you look at and there's a centre back one as well. I should compare to that one. It's difficult to compare to all versions, obviously. Depends on the position because it's a very different version. But there is a centre back one. Stats kind of shuffled around a bit. I would say that centre back one probably. I mean, the attributes are obviously more defensively oriented on that one because he obviously was based on when he played as a centre back. So if you wanted a more defensive version of Kimmich, certainly as a centre back because this one can't play centre back, then that one would have the edge. But as a fullback, you might prefer that centre-back version as a defensive fullback, whereas this one might be better as an attacking fullback. But like I say, it's a slightly different version, that one. With the points all kind of shuffled around a bit. In terms of trainable versus the Kimmich, obviously the legend version of Kimmich that we had is better in just about any position, including as a right-back. Other trainable versus the Kimmich, they might not go as high as this one in terms of the overall rating if you're training him as a right-back, but they're not too far off, to be honest. I think, his whole kind of profile, the balancing of the attributes seems to have been shuffled around a bit several times. So different versions of Kimmich will be stronger in some areas compared to others. But yeah, for the most part, if you've got a trainable version of Kimmich, a decent one, if you train him as a right back, like I say, overall rating won't be as high as this, but in certain areas, he might be pretty comparable. Overall, you might find this one isn't that much better than you'd really need it. You might find the one you got as a right back, to be honest. Just depends which one you got. But yeah, this is an interesting version of him, certainly with the speed boost. He's not always got that much speed, and that is important on a fullback. If you train his GP card as a right back, obviously it's not as good. His defending tends to be a little bit better on the whole, those defensive attributes. But yeah, this one, certainly down the left column, and especially with the pace, is a significant boost from his GP card as a right back. Skill-wise, before we get to the stats anymore, what have they done? It looks like they've taken away chip shot control. We can live without that, but they've taken away weighted pass. I think that's a bit of a shame. Sure, he's playing as a fullback, but I'd still like him to have weighted pass. What have they added? Blocker and penalty specialist. I guess he scored a penalty. I didn't see that much. Blocker's a nice addition, though. Would be nice if you had man marking if I was going to be greedy. Certainly going forward, one touch through and pinpoint very important. Long range shooting, not overly important. And defensively, interception. Blocker's a great addition. Sliding tackle. Yeah, man marking is the one skill that I would like this card to have that he doesn't already have. Fighting experience is a good one. Yeah, got good session skills though, even without man marking. It comes down to the pace. As a right back, I personally, even when on A form, 84 speed, 82 acceleration, you can get away with that for sure. But do you want to get away with it? Or I would rather be a lot more comfortable. I'd rather have the peace of mind and knowing that he's quick enough to deal with pacey wingers. That's still a bit on the slow side for me, but everything else down the right there is good. Down the middle, defensively certainly is strong. And then down the left for a fullback, he's okay on the ball for a fullback. His passing low and lofted is fantastic for a fullback. 86 low. Even without the A-form boost, you're going to hit 90 for lofted pass. You've got one touch pass, through passing, pinpoint crossing. So his passing and crossing is going to be absolutely outstanding for a fullback. So obviously you've got a lot of qualities with this guy as a right back. It's really just the pace for me. It's just still a bit on the low side, but you can get away with that. If he's your only right back on form in any given week, I think you'd be fine putting him in your team. But I would still like him to be a bit quicker. Obviously, I think most people would. In terms of other positions, DMF, he's not as good on the ball as he normally is, so I'm not sure how comfortable he'd be there, but certainly the passing's still good. Defensively pretty strong. Down the right, great. He's lost weighted pass, but he can certainly still do a good job for you as a DMF. Obviously, other versions of him will be better as a DMF because you can train him specifically to be good in that role. I think primarily you'd be taking a bit of pace and putting on the on-the-ball attributes, but you can certainly do a job there. Still as a DMF, centre mid. Attacking awareness is too low for me. He's not brilliant on the ball. So yeah, again, he can certainly do a job. He can pass the ball. He's got some decent defences and all the rest down the right hand side. But as a centre mid for me, I'd like to be a bit better with those first four attributes down the left column. He can certainly do a job for you still though. But yeah, I think certainly DMF he could be decent, and right back is where he's very interesting because you've got a lot of qualities. The pace is the one concern, but he's certainly got more pace than he normally does, especially on A form. So yeah, it could be a very interesting option as a right back, as an attacking right back, especially with fantastic passing and crossing. So yes, as always, the pace on Kimmich is a question mark as a right back, but compared to other versions, and just in general as a right back, could be a very interesting card. Certainly if you don't mind that pace being as low as it is, with all the other qualities he's got, could be a really, really nice card to pick up. And before I forget, as I always do, he does have a face scan, of course. So yeah, very interesting option. Not the quickest, but quicker than he normally is. Loads of qualities there as a right back. Could be a very interesting right back card for a lot of people to have. And next up is Xavi Simons from Leipzig, hence no live update outside of international week. So another one with a real negative in the live update situation. But whole player, attacking mid, bunch of positions, good card. Got unwavering form as well, that does compensate for the lack of live update. He's got a face scan, of course. I've had a couple of previous player of the week versions of Simons when he's at PS3, neither of those was good. In terms of trainable versions, we've had one or two that go slightly higher overall. I've had a Showtime version, of course, that's the best. So yeah, it's not the best version of him that we've had, but it's still pretty good. There was also a very old nominated contract version from ages ago. That one was nowhere near as good in terms of ability, but it was tiny, so really that low centre of gravity. That's before they suddenly realised that Simons is actually 11 centimetres taller. I don't know when that growth spurt happened, but yeah, he did used to be tiny. So if you really like your players with that low centre of gravity, you might, in that way, prefer that old nominated contract card, but this is a lot better in terms of ability. From his GP card, the only real nerf is they've taken about 5 points off his lofted pass. Apart from that, there's no silly nerfing that's gone on. He's had a decent boost across the board. He's very nice on the ball, of course. Attack awareness is good. Decent finishing. Low pass is decent, depends where you play him. Pace is pretty decent. Yeah, he's pretty good across the board. Good balance. Unwavering form again, like I say. Skill-wise, we've lost Sombrero. We've lost Scotch Move. I think we've lost Rabona. I think we can live without those. And they've given him long range curler, very nice addition. Penalty specialist, yeah. Super sub, interesting. So we've got some nice skills on this guy. We've got soul control there. Obviously long range curler, very nice addition. One touch pass and through passing, very important. Outside curler, nice. And he's a super sub as well. It's going to depend where you play him, but I think this guy could be pretty nice in just about all the positions he's got, really. The pricing could be borderline attacking mid. For me, that's around about the borderline. I'd like it to be around the 90 mark, but certainly 85. Fully boosted will go to 88. It's got one touch pass and through passing. Finishing at 80. It's got long range curler. Got a little bit of curler and a bit of kicking power. His long range curler should be decent. I think it's a number 10 attacking mid or SS. Just with a decent pace and just about everything he needs, really. I think it could be very nice. Feel pretty nice on the ball. Bit of end product. Left and right. I wouldn't play him on the right. I don't think he's got... No, he's not got pinpoint crossing, and his lofted pass only 76. As a right footer, I wouldn't personally want him on the right. I don't think he's best there. But on the left, especially now he's got long range curler as a right footer. He's got decent enough pace. He's going to be nice on the ball. He's got very decent passing for a wide man. And the finishing, like I say, with that long range curler skill, coming off the left wing onto his right foot, could be very handy. So left midfield with the whole player playing style active could be a very, very interesting option. Left wing forward, no active playing style. If that bothers you, obviously you won't consider that. But if you don't mind the lack of playing style being active, I'm fine with that personally. I think playing wide left as a forward could be very interesting as well. But if it does bother you the lack of playing style, what you could do is you could play him in that position, just switch his position from left wing forward to SS, have him as a wide left SS, and he will have the whole player playing style active. Could be pretty nice that way. So yeah, you got a bunch of ways you can use this guy. It's not the best version of Simons that we've had, but it's a pretty good one. The fact they're giving long range curler especially as a good addition, and super sub as well, very interesting. So if you've got one of the better versions of Simons, then you may well feel that you don't really need this one. But if you don't have one of those better ones, or we don't have any good version of him, I think it's going to be a really nice card to pick up. It's a big shame he doesn't get the live update, but you never know, he might join a team in the summer where he will get live update. So in which case this card would start getting A and B form. So yeah, that's one thing to consider. Maybe I'm not sure if he's going to stay at Leipzig any longer. No disrespect to them, but yeah. Outside the live update thing, plenty of qualities here. There have been slightly better versions of him, but if you don't have one of the better versions, or if you don't have any good version of him, this could be a really nice card to pick up. Versatile, some very nice skills added, and yeah, he's going to feel nice on the ball. Could be a very good card for a lot of people. And finally, we have Mikel Olise. Got another player of the week, Mikel Olise card. Got his face scan. He's got his old playing style back. So he used to be a creative playmaker. He got changed to a roaming flanker a while back. Now back to being a playmaker, which is interesting. He's got unwavering form. He seems to be getting A and B form almost every week for Bayern. So that's a big plus. There's no league challenge to use Bayern cards in there, so that's a bit of a shame. But yeah, I think this is a card that a lot of people are looking at potentially for their strongest squad for divisions and so on. So previous versions of him, like I say, he used to be a playmaker. So we've had playmaker versions. We've actually only had, as far as I can see, one trainable version of him since he's been a roaming flank. That's in the Bayern pack. Pretty similar. Obviously, stats shuffled around a little bit. I think it really just comes down to the playing style. If you got that version, and if you prefer a roaming flank, then you got one that you'll be happier with. But if you prefer the creative playmaker playing style, you might prefer this one. In terms of player of the week cards, I've had a few. Oh, they put his weaker for accuracy +1. I just remembered that in time, so Joe doesn't need to remind me. So yeah, weaker for accuracy +1. But yeah, previous player of the week cards, I've had 3. And they're all pretty similar on the whole, really. The main difference really is the playing style. The older whole player, there's a whole player, there's a couple of whole players. The older one is probably not quite as good, mainly the pace and the low pass, really, but not a million miles away. Apart from that, with the other two, certainly the differences are very minor. There's another whole player and there's a roaming flank. To be honest, it would come down to the playing style. If you really want a playmaker version, then this would be preferable for you. But if you've got one of those other two, the whole player or the roaming flank, and if you're happy with the playing style, I don't think you need this one. I don't think there's enough of a difference, really. In terms of training wheels, like I say, there's obviously the roaming flank and the Bayern pack with a very different playing style. Overall ability very similar. But as a creative playmaker, there was a Showtime creative playmaker version. Obviously, it's better. Not a massive difference, though, really, on the whole. A couple of creative playmaker versions when he's at Palace. I've got one of those, very nice on the ball. I like him playing off the right wing, even though he's a creative playmaker, which does, for me personally, hold him back a little bit. But neither of those Palace versions are quite as good as this one. You can match them in certain areas because those are trainables, of course. You can match them in certain areas, but not others. So yeah, this as a creative playmaker is one of the better versions of Olise. Just that Showtime one, really, that's better compared to his GP card. Really similar story to those Palace ones, the old creative playmaker ones, really. You can match them in certain areas, but not all areas. Obviously, he's had a decent enough boost on the whole. Skill-wise, what they've done, we've lost dipping shot, I think, and I think low lofted pass. We've got long-range shooting and one-touch pass. One-touch pass is very nice addition. He's already got through passing. So you've got the passing skills there. Got crossing, heel trick and outside curler are handy ones to have. Long-range shooting and long-range curler. Interesting. We've got the passing and the shooting. It's going to be a question of where you're going to use him, because as a creative playmaker, yes, he's got one-touch pass and through passing, but like I said with Almada, low pass only at 80. Is he got good enough passing to be a creative playmaker? For me personally, certainly as a centre mid, there's no way I consider him centre mid. He's not strong enough physically or defensively. As an attacking midfielder, is that low pass high enough with the passing skills even? Not for me. If you think that's okay and you can work around that, it could be very nice. It could be nice on the ball. The attacking moves and the finishing and the pace, he's going to be great in a whole load of areas as an attacking midfielder, just not the passing for me. So if you can work around the passing, it could be great as an attacking midfielder for you. But for me personally, no, the passing is not good enough. As a wide man, he's got the pace, he's good in the ball. If you don't mind the creative playmaker playing style out wide, he could be very handy. You could get away with him wide left forward, to be honest. As a left footer, he's got pinpoint crossing, lofted pass hitting 80 with the game plan boost. His crossing will be okay, not amazing, but be okay. He's got outside curl as well, so he can go inside, he can go outside. Could be handy coming off the left wing, but I think for most people, this is a card you'd be using wide right as a left footer. He's got the pace, good balance, he's good on the ball, he's got some end product. The passing will be fine as a wide man. Still not going to be brilliant, but it's not as important playing as a winger. The finishing certainly in the 80s, curl and kicking power mid-80s, long range curl and long range shooting, cutting in from that right wing onto his left foot. He's going to have a decent finish on him. So yeah, attacking midfield, if you don't mind the low pass attribute being as low as it is, it could be great. Attacking midfield, certainly great everywhere else in terms of the attributes. But I think certainly for most people, if the creative playing style works for you in a wide man, coming off that left wing, I think it could be really, really nice. I think that could be where you get the most value out of him, because he's got pretty much everything you need. He's going to feel pretty nice on the ball in my personal experience. So yeah, it's not the best version of Olise we've had, but it's a good one. But like I said initially, I think what it comes down to primarily is the playing style. If you've got a version of Olise already and you like the playing style and he works for you, I don't think you really need this one. Yes, it's a good version of him, but unless you really want a good, a better creative playmaker version of Olise than you've already got, like I say, if you've got one, you've got a whole player, you like the whole player playing style, I would say you've got the one that you need. Likewise, if you've got that roaming flank, either of the roaming flank versions, there's a player of the week one, and obviously there's the one in the Bayern pack. If you've got one of those and you like the roaming flank playing style, I don't think you need this one. But if you do want a creative playmaker version, and this is better than the one you've got, or if you've not got a good version already, this could be a really nice card to pick up. Like I say, if you don't mind the low pass, it could be great attacking mid, but certainly off that right wing is probably where you get the most value out of him. Looks like it could be a very, very good card for a lot of people. So there is your National Player of the Week pack. I think it's a reasonable pack. I don't think it's an amazing one, but it's certainly some decent ones in there. I think even the lowest rate is not too bad for a 4-star card, to be fair, Aydin. Konstantelias, again, he's not an amazing card, but could be a useful one for some people. Moise Kean. I need to learn how to say his name, don't I? Yeah, a disappointment for me. The attacking worst is the main thing. Yes, they made it much better on the ball, but the most important areas, some of the most important areas, he does need to be a bit higher for me. So some people might find that that's a decent card, but it's a bit disappointing for me. Oyarzabal, if the deep line forward playing style works for you as a deep line forward, it could be a very nice one. Ryerson, not great on the ball, but apart from that, a very solid fullback. Just the lack of live update really kind of spoils him a bit. Almada, shame he's not got through passing, but I think for a lot of people, as a nippy little, wide man or attack midfielder, looks like he's going to feel very nice on the ball. I think that could be a fairly popular card, that one. Trincão, very decent inverted wing, coming to the right wing. Looks like it could be a fairly handy card. Kimmich, still not quick enough for me as a fullback, but he is quicker than he normally is. I think for a lot of people that could be a very, very interesting attacking right back. Maignan, very good goalie, not much more to say. Olise comes down to the playing style for me. It's not the best version of Olise, but it's certainly a good version. It's pretty much par for the course with the good versions of him. Very similar to the previous Player of the Week ones. And it comes down to the playing style. If you really want a good creative playmaker version, it could be a really nice one for you to pick up. If you prefer a whole player or roaming flank, you may already have a better one. And there may well be better ones coming up in the future. And then Xavi Simons, lack of live update again is a bit of a shame, but it's a very nice card. I think a lot of people are very pleased with him. So, yeah, as always, there's some very decent cards in there. There's a few that aren't quite so exciting. I think it's a pretty reasonable pack, pretty much par for the course, really. Hopefully you found this useful. Let me know what you think of the pack. Let me know who you've got from your free spin. As I mentioned at the start, there is the Serie A pack, which I'll be reviewing next. I'll try and start that today. I don't know if I'll get that live today or if it'll be tomorrow. I'm going to try and do at least one stream over the next couple of days as well. But keep your eyes up for the Italian League pack review as well. There's one or two interesting ones in there. So cheers for watching this. Do really appreciate it. Hopefully you found it useful. And I'll see you soon. Take it easy.